When you're looking for a friend to make your day so clear, it's just a live stream away, and you'll have a great day. A group of people ready to jam with you, singing songs of yesterday as well as today. Team International, Team International, Team International. Oh yeah, alright. Team International, Team International, Team International. Such a beautiful sight, found in my aura joy X. Oh yeah. Speaker Dan, alright. Guapa Julie Basilton. Oh yeah. Principal Mona Lisa, TV official, alright. Guapa teacher Crazy TV. Oh yeah. Joseph Dia Fedapple Feels Benigno. Randall TV official. Guapo. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Infinite Streams TV Master, alright. Paul Guapo E.T. Dragon Slayer. Oh yeah. Guapo D King. Alright. Guapa Annie Sidecon. Oh yeah. Guapa Mers Novice Law.
LNW show alright.
Alright. Alright. Alright. Alright. Alright. Alright. Alright. Team International. Team International. Team International. Oh yeah.
Over them with built-in tools. Team and individual stats will be easily accessible in the sidebar, updated in real time. And just like on Twitch, you can clip your favorite moments as they happen. And yes, you are still eligible for Twitch drops. Now keep in mind that the ALGS multi-view tool is still in beta, so as we continue improving the experience, we want your feedback. Please share it using the button that you'll find in the bottom right of your screen. Now this tool is free to use, and it'll be available for every single ALGS event. So log on, find your favorite POVs, and tune in for the best viewing experience that ALGS has to offer.
In this game, victory is a choice. You lose. You rebuild. You evolve. Or you're left in the dust.
Nice knowing you. No, we are not done yet. This is where we earn our scars. I bloody love this egg.
Every loss takes a piece of you. Until only the strongest parts remain. Keep moving.
Here's everything you missed from the final week of Pro League before the regional finals weekend. Starting in the Americas, Shopify Rebellion showed up big. After a shaky start to the split, they ramped up at just the right time. With 2 first and third place finishes on the final match day, they looked like one of the strongest teams in the lobby. And now heading into match point finals, they're looking like a favorite for that title. In APAC North, Zeta Division's win streak has finally come to an end. Backed by a first and 2 second place finishes, Unlimit edged ahead by a comfortable 12 points to claim first place on the final match match day. With these two teams at the top, the fight for the title in APAC North will be one you do not want to miss. In APAC South, the top spot in the region has been stolen away by Wolves Esports. Back-to-back wins on the final match day secured them a comfortable first-place finish in the region and the #1 seed heading into the regional finals. They're peaking at just the right time and will have their eyes set on the title. And finally, in EMEA, it was a massive day for HM. The unsigned squad showed up when it mattered, putting together a first, second, and third place finishes to claim the top spot on the day. More importantly, they've put themselves in a strong position to qualify for the Split 1 playoffs in Paris. The question now is, will they be able to lock that spot in during the regional finals? With the top 20 teams in each region locked in, here are the teams we'll be seeing compete in the match point finals. Who will lock in their spot at the Split 1 playoffs in Paris, and who will be watching from the sidelines? Tune in this weekend to find out.
What's up, everybody? I'm Tank, and this is your ALGS Top 5 Plays of the Week. Kicking off your top 5, we're going to Elite Sports Zone, Dig Vibes. On the Bangalore, with some elite play. Fields back for his squad.
I can see it.
Smokes out. They're holding outside a circle here, trying to pick up some extra kills.
You can play life if you want.
And just a laser beam attached to my man's head. 1, 2, oh my, easy peasy. I mean, one of the smoothest team wipes you're going to see. At number 4, we're going to head over to Sleep Theory. On the Octane, with the jump pad, to the sky. Sentinel kick flip connects. Wingman cracks. Back to the Sentinel up top. Yes! Tuck him in and put him to bed. Your number 3 play of the week, it's Timmy. Sliding into a fight. Edge of circle. Gonna have to peel back, getting tagged up pretty heavily here, but he's got a Kraber.
I might be the worst player ever.
2 pushing, make it 1. Flip to the alternator. Slides back out to regroup, and that's a clean double from one of the best in the business. At number 2, we head over to Jaren, who's in a bit of a pinch. Team's down, 1v3. Looking for the dub. Can he take his team to the promised land? Through the portal, here they come, the push is on. He hits his first knock. R99 clean for his second knock. He makes it a 1v1, here we go. He's got a tick of health left. Oh, and he does it. Pack your bags, my friend, you're heading to Clutch City. Oh my God. Your ALGS top play of the week, and this is one of my favorites of all time. We've got Nerdy, and my man is all out assault. He knows no retreat, no surrender. Teammates are down, pushes forward to get his first knock. Throws a nitro gate out, and you think, oh, looks like he's retreating. No. My man's setting a trap. Pulls not only himself back, but his teammates back, and he laid down the ult. Pops one up to the sky, second knock. Nerdy taking these kids to school, and now he's just got a 1v1 left. And no, he's not going anywhere. No hesitation like the attack titan. Power slides through the ult to pick up the team wipe. Bonus clip, honorable mention from a good friend of the show, Caution. On the Pathfinder. Right off the zip line, Sentinel kick flip. Styling on him in a 1v1. That'll wrap up your top 5. I hope you enjoyed, and thank you for submitting your clips all split long. But don't stop. No, we'll be back next split, so please keep sending in your clips, all of them. Your best, your funniest, your goofiest, your quirkiest clips. Send them all. Send everything. And you might find yourself on an ALGS top 5 plays of the week. Remember, I'm Tank, and to check out more of me, head over to @TheTankTV on all socials, and we will see you next split with some more ALGS top 5 plays of the week.
They're ready for more, let's settle it. Look at the life that we relish, I'm telling it. I'm the star of the show in the regiment. Can't stop me, bro, ain't no pedaling. Ain't no riding the wave. Staring right in your face, you know where I'm getting it. This ain't back in the days. Yeah, ready for more and more, ain't no meddling, no. Gotta know what my head is for sure. I had a show when I was young, I had my back on the ropes. Looking like I never had a roll. In school of hard knocks, I get hard drops. Got drive even when the car stops. I don't lost it if they let me, ain't no get ready. When you stay ready, let's go.
The ALGS is back for our final day of Split 1 in Year 6. And boy, oh boy, you know what that means. Match point finals. You got to get 50, and then you've got to win to become the champion. And it means more than you think, because a trip to EWC in Paris is on the line. So the teams in the top 20, but who aren't qualified, have one last chance, one last Hail Mary, to create that franchise story for their org and for themselves as players. It's so exciting to be here. Welcome back. My name's Rain Day, and I'm joined by my two buds, Onset and Gaskin, to kick off what will be a tremendous day. We'll have Vicky and Genome, Obi-Wan Genome, joining us a little bit later as well. So we'll have a full crew here to call all the action. Mark, I mean, there's really not much to say. Everyone who's been a part of Apex Legends Esports knows match point finals.
Qualified just off of points today, and what a disappointment that is for the team that we were really hailing, and I think a lot of the community around the ALGS was hailing.
Seen even heirlooms drop. You don't know, but kind of like a rumor.
It looks like we are going to Jurassic, and that sleeper pick you were talking about, a mounted lift, looking pretty good right now.
Yeah, this is why a lot of these central POIs are successful, because you can rotate so comfortably regardless of where it is on the map, but even more so when it is here in the center. VP are going to be very happy at Jurassic as well. Also, as you notice, the legend compositions, 18 cryptos. That's going to be the first ban for the day. 15 Axles in the lobby as well. So expect a lot of speed gates. They're going to be there, here, and everywhere.
Yeah, Nitro gates are going to be laid down everywhere. Teams are going to have to be very careful on what fights they take, knowing that the third party and even the fourth, maybe even the fifth, is very, very susceptible with those Nitro gates that will be down. But it's a very interesting game to want. I love the fact that we have a central way to start the game. It means that everyone has a pretty good prio to this. One team that's got great prio, and one of the only buildings that is going to be towards this end game is going to be VP down, and they are in our LAN qualification positions at the start of today's standings. And they're also getting EMP'd early.
It's also worth talking about how quickly VP have moved here as well from Stormcatcher. They were so quick on their rotation to join the likes of Aurora, who can move pretty quickly here as well, but they've decided to move a little bit further northeast. For Fun Esports, are going to find themselves on the southern side. They moved from Pylon, so all these central teams would have been delighted once they got that information of where this zone was going to be going. But with a little bit of Valkyrie in the lobby as well, there's definitely going to be a lot of teams that are going to be able to dive in late here.
This building is it's kind of half a building, to be fair with you. I wouldn't call it a full building. That broken roof makes it very difficult to actually hold. You've only got essentially a staircase that is completely covered, and you know, with a couple of grenades, that can really be a problem. Speaking of which, Aurora causing some problems here to ZZZ, and it's going to be... Well, Rain is going to get the first knock here, and he's going to be able to get that finish as well. So Aurora, who have an early rotation, who have a great spot already in where this zone is going to be, have found themselves eliminating a couple of players. The 3 men will be the first team to fall in the lobby. That will be your Red Bull first strike of the day.
Yeah, Aurora, they're our lobby favorites, right? They were first in the draft. They took Cito Station as their #1 pick. Cito has had the most wins on Storm Point since we saw the Trident removal, so it makes for a good position, but they have lost Yaka at the moment. But of course, those Nitro gates that you spoke about, very good for disengaging and also trying to get people out whilst they're crawling. But it looks like it might have to be a late recovery, because Eclipse in the end are going to be able to find that KP.
Yeah, it was Kings who got the first knock. As an Arsenal fan, I have to object his in-game name. I will say that. Congratulations to PSG on scamming a penalty win in the Champions League final. Everybody deserves to win something. Eclipse Never Pro, though, you see that they Neve Pro, did get that first knock, which forces Aurora to retreat, and that's a little bit frustrating for them, because playing up on that high ground where that gate is can be a very good entry point to where this end zone is going to be, not only for end game position, but also for potential KP of teams rotating in towards you.
And that's what it's all about. It's finding points, because it's very different now we're here in match point. It's a race to see who can get to that 50-point threshold first. Sure, you can have your calm approach. You can just go for a little bit of placement as well. But if you can find one of those big aggressive games, a lot of KP, you put yourself in such good stead. You have to be a little bit careful here, unaware of the angle.
Yeah, Curse is going to be flying in on that Nitro gate to try and find some of these Team Heretics players. Actually, the Horde who are up on the height, the Horde are the team that they are fighting. So Heretics trying to chase them down is completely isolated over at Elrod. And for now, it looks like both teams are just going to retreat, reset. Everyone will be safe. The Horde will be up on the height now of Command Center, and Heretics will just be waiting here at Elrod to see if they can pick a few of them off. But I don't think this engagement is going to go on too long. Elsewhere, the zone is getting very, very busy. And I will say, the one thing about Jurassic, Dan, even though it's a central POI, not a lot of playable spaces. You're going to have to hope that you find a little corner somewhere where your back can be clear and play forward from there.
Checking with Alliance, who are slowly marauding their way towards the zone, and this was expected. Up towards North Pad, they are going to have quite an easy journey. Not too many teams to contest them ever since the Trident changes, and it's always a curious thing when you look at this Alliance roster, right? With the change that happened,
You get Aku coming in. You wonder if it is going to be able to replace the incredible feats that Effect was able to do alongside this squad. And they still haven't reached that ceiling yet for me. That doesn't mean they're never going to, but I do think that Alliance have a chance to really prove themselves here in these match point finals today. Speaking of Alliance, let's jump into a listen and see what they think about this zone.
Do you have TP soon? In case I get
99. I have it now.
No, no nade now, bro. Fuck.
I'm just putting here.
I
I'm
should
putting in a cooldown. I'm putting in cooldown. It's fine.
You should just be the Cedar team that's in range of me. I'm gonna scan UV. Yeah, assistant. Team sitting top. I'm gonna scan UV, Aman, so you guys are scanning Recastle.
Scanning 3,
Let me get it.
2.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm watching Cascades. I can't scan.
Only one team Cedo. Not this free right now. Tunnel's taken.
What's Cascades doing? Why are they chilling there? He's pulling. Can we play for the choke maybe? Late.
Yeah, I think we go nut for now. I can scan UV and Cascade as well.
Okay.
I think we just wrap the Cascade scad and then we go for nut. Or we wrap the outside here. Yeah, we need to wrap the entire outside.
That was the team in Cascades.
Yeah, I mean they should be wrapping. They should be finding tunnel or something as well.
They were just staying in Cascade for some reason. If there's no ring console, I don't know.
A pretty clear plan here from Alliance. You would imagine they'll be trying to get up to purples to fight their way in towards that nut, actually on the eastern side of where this zone is going to be pulling down. And they have to work all the way through Cascades, like they were saying, to do so, where Elite EU are kind of working their way down the hillside right now. So a big, long swing around the zone here from Alliance, where they're trying to fight their way in from there.
And of course, with this being the only game of the day, unless we were to see a reset in that category, is where you get so much information from Crypto here as well. Being able to use those drones to kind of scout out those areas, try and see if there are any of those nooks and crannies that you were speaking of, and then finding your way there. As we move into match 2 and onward, is a very different and far more difficult to try and get as much info as Crypto does. And that's why we see Crypto often taken away in the early stages here. Just provides so much value for these IGLs.
I'll always be surprised if I don't see a Crypto ban game 1, because that has been the pattern of play for quite some time now. Outside of the zone, though, with the Vicious and Elite EU having a little bit of a poke and a prod at each other. It's the Vicious who are being the aggressors here, forcing them away towards the green and whites. And already up to full purple here, the Vicious as well. So they're going to be able to fight their way in pretty confidently. And they will have to, just judging on their position they find themselves in at the moment. The Horde at the moment, they're hitting third console over at Stormcatcher. They're a long way away from this zone as well. Alliance now making their way towards HM and Elite EU, having just moved through Cascade Falls like we were talking about a few moments ago. We heard from the IGL's mouth of Hackis. And this is where a lot of that fighting is going to be taking place in just a few moments' time. You can see it on your screen. Elite EU inside of the green and whites for now, but not safe in zone. And with a little bit of an opportunity to try and get out of the pinch they find themselves in.
Yeah, who blinks first here out of these 3 teams? Because Elite EU, they wanted to engage in this one, but I don't know how aware they were of the 3rd team. And as soon as they do get that awareness, they should back out and they should retreat towards zone, because otherwise you get caught up in this, and there's always the chance that the Horde also join in on this fight as well. So you have to be careful here as well. Popped up into the air, but no conversion.
Yeah, this is looking not good for HM at the moment. You can see they are being pinched right now. Elite actually did a really good job of getting themselves out of the pinch and becoming one of the pincers, not the meat in the middle of the sandwich. Alliance now moving in to try and find a few KP and really take advantage of this, and HM will be eliminated. Alliance do lose unlucky though, but they do have the altar portal down. They'll be able to jump back through that, or certainly be dragged, you would imagine, by Hackers, should they be able to keep those knockdown shields up.
It's worth remembering this was the last pick for Alliance, the least prioritized map, which might be a surprise, but certainly look out for them to be scoring more points over towards E-District and Olympus instead. But again, it goes back to my point. They're a comfortable POI, although this hasn't necessarily been a comfortable rotation because they've had to move quite some way with a lot of teams gatekeeping at the moment. But Elite EU are able to survive all of that conflict, and finally the Horde are going to start to move down towards them.
Yeah, I wonder if Hackers, I don't think, did manage to pull back through the Void Nexus, both his teammates who were down there. And I think he's going to have to just collect banners and try and escape on the Crypto. Elite EU are actually chasing after. He did manage to get one player up at least, excuse me, looking at the map overhead. And the Horde is still deep in zone, hitting an evac at the moment. So Elite EU realise there's an opportunity for KP here versus Alliance, and Henchman will take down Aku. And that is a strong push to collect yet more points. And I kind of like this early from Elite EU. This is match point. Points early are vital. If you can find them early and get an opportunity to collapse onto teams that are weak, you have to take them.
That being said, it is going to give advantage to the Horde to now surpass Elite EU on those rotations, and they might find themselves being gate-kept a little bit. Maybe they were unknown to that, though. You've always got to expect there's going to be teams arriving from the northeast, especially you know that Horde are going to be there at Zeus. But Elite EU, they took an opportunity for some extra KP. They said, look, if we just force ourselves into zone, we might be gate-kept anyway. Why not pick up 1 or 2 extra points here? As the zone is going to continue moving even more central here. So again, the 3 teams that were there early, Mark, Infinite, Virtus Pro, and August and Hungary are all going to be rubbing their hands together. There is a real opportunity at some big points here.
Yeah, especially for Infinite as well, because you might have noticed just before it disappeared on the map overhead, they actually got a Mythic bin spawning right on top of them. So center zone, Mythic bin spawning there. That's extra Evo, extra weapons, everything you could possibly want to hold down one of the best spots that we have in that zone. Now outside of the zone, down on the outskirts of it, in and around Pylon, you've got to have Team Heretics, who were involved in a little bit of a scrap earlier, and they're going to have to pull Jans back here through the Nexus and take care of the drone flying towards them, but it doesn't look good for them. Alonso's going to have to go huge here, not going to be able to. Team Heretics are eliminated. It's Make EU great again who are going to get those kills.
No wall to clamber onto to avoid the drone, as Alliance are going to be able to survive that fight and take down Elite EU off the back of their respawners. Now GG engaging with Colonel Node at the moment, and they've been able to connect with 1, maybe 2. Just as simple as that, GG will absolutely slap-a-roo them as they continue to move from the north.
Yeah, got to make their way through this tunnel, though. They're going to try and hold out many teams that are going their way. Next chance for them to get kills is going to be Alliance. Hackis just gets behind that rock in time and denies that LOS, which would have been a killer blow with that longbow from GG. But they forced them away. That's job number 1 done. Forced Alliance away from the tunnel that they hold. And now they're going to work their way in towards the zone. On the other side of the zone, though, you've got Aurora, who are back for revenge here. And Kings, who got that first knock in the Aurora fight earlier, he's going to be one of the first down. 2v2 on the map right now. Oirain trying to pop that battery, but he's going to watch Effect go down in front of them. Xako and Kashera still up, trying to play behind the knockdowns, but the zone is closing behind them. Kashera dealt with
aggression. No, that's
perfect. Oh, he gets the kills. Oirain slides on the Nitro gate and manages to get the KP.
Just so good, so well thought from Oirain, and it's just one of those plays you kind of have to make if you're on an Axel. Take advantage of the speed of which you can engage in a fight and just confuse your enemy as well. But now you are a lonesome solo. Maybe there'll be opportunity to get people back, who knows? But as for Alliance, they've been able to survive their way into zone. Very impressive, considering the fact they went down previously, and they are still finding KP alongside that and finding some death boxes along the way to get a little bit of extra loot. But from this point onward, it's where do they go? They might have to use those Nitro gates to try and surpass a couple of teams, as now it's starting to get a little bit dirty in the middle of Jurassic Park.
Yeah, Citadel trying to use the caustic barrels to give themselves a little bit of cover here, but Thatcher's being chased. There's some weak players inside of this building, but it's going to be Citadel who will fall next. 11 squads now remain as GG look to move in and clean up the final pieces here. On to Citadel and the remaining members of Infinite. They managed to do so. The lobby is half. 10 squads now remain.
I tell you what, GG have claimed that building, they've claimed center zone, and maybe the form that we saw them in scrims is carrying on right here, right now, as Blast gets another one onto 9, and GG will be able to hold down and lock down one of the best positions on the map right now.
RE45 in hand, Ardeki on the Gibby trying to cause a little bit of stalling so that maybe another team can come in and get involved and keep GG at bay here and keep his team alive. Aurora somehow managed to full reset, by the way. We're in with a huge clutch on the outside of the Jurassic fence, now gets his teammates back into the game.
Aurora, Horde, Gaming Gladiators, August and Hungary all still alive inside zone. But then you've got the likes of Make EU Great Again, Stay Healthy for Fun, who still have to move in. 10 squads remain as we go closer towards our final zone here.
What HP for Kajaki is going to get taken down, but it's going to be taxed from August and Hungary, who will be credited with the kill, even though we're ready to be frustrated as he did 99% of the work in that fight. Alliance still fighting on that other side of zone as well, on the opposite fence line, trying to move in on August and Hungary have been here for quite some time. Hack is going to be moving up now to make this a 2v1. Fricks is the last alive here for ONH.
Yeah, you have to win this engagement here if you are Alliance, and the real question is whether August and Hungary stick and try and win a 1v2. Actually, it's now a 2v2. They've been able to get one of them back up, because if you win this fight, you control the entirety of this eastern side, but it's certainly nervy moments. There you go. That's what you needed for Alliance, as they still manage to stay alive here.
Yeah, this is classic Alliance in game number one. We've always talked about the historically being slow starters in match point, but not looking like that is going to be the case here, as they have won fight after fight, 2 resets already in this game, and making you great again, who are maybe thinking about thirding, well, now got to think about surviving, as Nate is last alive.
Unlucky's taking a lot of damage though, and yeah, Alliance are just getting picked off at the moment because they had to move outside of the building, or at least some of them did. Very little is within the zone right now, as 9 squads still remain, make it 8, as finally Making You Great Again are eliminated. And Alliance just having to use the little bit of the shield they have left, but maybe this could be the beginning of the end here for ALGS, but he's going to try and potentially get a little bit of a rest here.
Little box rest coming in. Oh, I was going to say, if the knockdown stayed up, it might have been an opportunity, but instead, ALGS is going to collect some banners, I would imagine. Doesn't have the crypto drone available at the moment by the looks of things, so might be able to have to wait a few seconds for that drone to come back. And you wonder if it's going to come back in time before that zone starts to close for him to grab those banners. But Alliance are still alive, still have KP. Back over to the zone though. Aurora, I mean, you've got to give a huge amount of credit for that play from Oirain earlier down. He's the reason they are in this endgame.
I mean, Aurora and Alliance have been doing very similar things from the other side of the map, right? They've been working their way in, they've been destroying teams. Only 1 player, 2 player survivors, but then utilizing crypto to make sure you can get back up, for example. VP have been slightly going about their business as well on this southern side, but now this rotation is a little bit more of a difficult one. This is where you're going to have to try and utilize the portal, but maybe you'll just utilize the Sentinel instead.
Charge it up and knock him down. Ozus with a beautiful shot from that Sentinel. And now he's just trying to claim some more victims. Guts by name, guts everywhere.
It's so frustrating when you're trying to rotate and you're being focused this heavily and stay healthy and not going to be very healthy at all. And now this is where the use of Alter starts to come into play. Not only can you dance between any of these buildings, but I tell you what, he's just not missing right now.
Ozus is standing and delivering, but Zane is overlooking it at the moment and it's not looking good. They might be able to just get out of his LOS, and they do so. So VP, thanks to the shots from the Sentinel, find somewhere to play. Prestis has still got to manage to cross here, though, which is a slight worry. Alliance are out, stay healthy, will go out as well. And we are into our top 5.
GG doing very well as a duo at the moment, by the way. They've been able to solidify their spot in that building, and even though they lost 1, because the core stick's still up, they've been able to be so difficult to take down. As now you try and go for a little bit of an abduction, and you do find 1.
For fun, looking to close in on the final remaining players of the Horde down on the low ground. VP were trying to portal through to see if they could get a little bit of the action themselves and collect some KP. 90 Pulse is still alive, and Aurora now make their move up onto high. GG versus Aurora. The Horde have been eliminated in the meantime as Effect looks for victims.
Yeah, perhaps they just were able to sniff out. It was only a duo here, and finally GG will fall, but a valiant effort. 4th place as a duo in the end, as Aurora will now reign supreme here in the middle. But VP utilizing a little bit of height here, and I really like this because you've got the opportunity to get that Sentinel up here as well.
I was about to say, I thought Prestis had himself the Sentinel still in hand, and if you're serving someone up like that after the drone hits from Axel,
even better.
That'll do. Yeah, we'll stick with that one instead. Actually, let's see another drone here. Get that all back. Get it in there. Axel actually in the composition here for VP, so that was actually not a friendly one. That was a foreign drone that went in that served that player up.
VP in such a good position at the moment as well. If you can just convert one of these shots, I mean, honestly, I would probably hand it over to the previous, but 7 bullets, a lot to work with here, and a good amount of time before the zone is going to touch your backside.
Oh, the collapse! The collapse from Prestis, it was worth waiting for. 2 teammates fall to Skynades. Prestis will go up to try and be the hero, but it's Aurora who fly up to the high ground, wipe VP, and now it is a 3 versus 3. It's for fun versus Aurora for game number 1.
It's just Aurora's world, and we are merely living in it at this point. So much damage.
Yeah, this was done. I'm sorry. I hate to call it early, but that much damage, you cannot lose this one. Tyler, good night. Aurora, start off hot here in game number 1.
Our number 1 team coming into regional finals, and they have proved why. Right from start to finish, they have shown so many different things as a unit, whether it is staying alive, whether it is avoiding fights, whether it is disengaging, re-engaging, keeping people up, getting people back into the game, pushing, getting aggressive, utilizing the nitro gates when they needed to. Yeah, that was, from start to finish, perfect.
Yeah, an amazing game from Aurora. Like you say, the reset initially, the escape, and then again, you've got to give a huge amount of credit to Rain, right? That reset, he wins a clutch 1v2 on the outside of the Jurassic fence and then gets his teammates back into the game. It is a 27-point game number 1 coming in from Aurora. 15 KP alongside the 12 for winning it. They are halfway to match point already.
Funny, really, isn't it, when you look at the group stages leading into regional finals and the teams who are at the top, well, they found themselves into that final circle as well. Aurora and For Fun, VP were there, Alliance were there a little bit earlier. You know, we have our clear leaders, I feel, in EMEA.
Yeah.
And with that performance from Aurora, is this going to be a quick day?
Well, you've just made it sure that it isn't by saying that, because we all know that that's the one thing you don't say after a good game 1. But we do also know that there is a little bit of a curse when it comes to match point, that if you hit it first, very, very rarely, if ever, do you actually manage to convert it. So, Rain, that was quite the game 1. We saw Sentinels, Kravers, Collaterals, Aurora. I mean, sign me up for the rest.
My goodness. The collat had me speechless. I usually can talk about anything for however long you want me to, but the collat had me speechless. And then the interesting part was, it was kind of like this great twist in a movie where the guy turns out to be this bad guy, but the movie was like Game of Thrones, where then he just dies, and then it's like now about a completely different person. You're like, wait, I like that story, because Aurora jump on them immediately and go, wait a second, no, this is all about us. I love what you pointed out. I want to highlight a little more of Rain and his performance. For Fun Esports, they made it to 2nd place, which is a new and improved Cinetic being the kill leader for this team, taking it on his shoulders. We talked to him earlier in the split. He has decided that he is the damage dealer this squad needs. And Virtus Pro as well. Prestis has been a top leader in kills and in damage. 2,500 damage already with that collab, probably the single best play we saw in game 1. 3 of these teams pretty much already qualified for EWC, guys. So that's been the conversation, the best teams performing. But I kind of want to lean in towards what Rain did, because those 6 points, Mark, you mentioned it. They had 6 points after that clutch, but it turned into 21 more points. Talk about the significance in a day like this where one single play can mean everything.
I mean, usually the great thing to highlight to someone, if you're watching, like, if you haven't watched much Apex Legends competitive, 10 points a game, you're happy. You're like, good game, everyone. Great game. 6 points is like not a bad game. But like you say, converting 6 into 27, that's halfway to match point. That usually is like 3 games worth of points for a team. So that is a phenomenal clutch from Rain in those final moments of that fight on the outskirts of Jurassic. And then there's this conversion. And I think one thing that they're so good at in the end game, and you have to give a huge amount of credit to the IGL here, is they are so good at recognizing opportunity, and their timing is so good on collapsing on opportunity to clear space, to clear threats, whatever it might be. And I think that overall, this team is really showing just everything you need from a team. Great IGL making great calls, clutch moments from Rain, and then effect. That's what, just effect.
Yeah,
you know, just
unbelievable.
Just put him in front of people to shoot.
I know, these guys, I mean, if they hit this level, it's going to be very hard to stop them. That also changes things for teams like Horde and Orglis and Hungry, who are trying to jump into that top 10, because, Dan, one of the things we know is when a team takes all these points and maybe finishes a day early, it kind of throws off the standings. HM currently in 18th place. They're a team that's currently in top 7. The Horde finding themselves in 5th. That's a good sign for a team that needs to maintain or climb in order to make regional, in order to make EWC.
Yeah, and I think that Horde were, quite lucky to get Zeus Station actually in the POI draft, because it's one of the second highest performing POIs on average points and has so many wins as well. Sure, it was a difficult zone from Zeus, but if you think about the fact that Storm Point is going to be at 6-7, and oh, for God's sake, I've already said it once today. No, everyone, no,
Sorry.
we're going to say 6-7 a lot today. Everyone,
Dan,
get it out of your systems now.
Thank you, Dan. we just unlocked Gen Z. We just unlocked a whole new viewer audience there. Mark, let's talk a little bit more because I'm hungry. Sorry to cut you off, Dan, but when you say that, we just have to move on. Talk Frick, Sammy, and Taxington. They've been a squad that's been trying to find their rhythm, especially after the change earlier in this split.
Everyone who's watching on an iPad right now, sat up right. I mean, August and Hungry, they had it's interesting. I love the talk that Dan had about the POI choice that they had, the green and whites down on that hillside, because it has become a turbo rotate game again now that Tridents are out the illusion. And when you're in match point, when you're in a very good quality lobby, you know, they are the kind of POIs that you are going to try and prioritize because you're going to be in a great spot first. And I think you look at the final standings on that first game, it's Jurassic, it's Central, but all of the top 4 or 5 teams are all dropping very, very central. So they got the priority spots. And I think for August and Hungary, you know, probably a little bit disappointed that having one of those POIs that is central and having great access to that zone didn't make more of it. And when you're on the cusp and when you're trying to find points, I mean, it's a little bit of a letdown.
Yeah, it's tough, but you know, having a kind of a pathway to get those points next game if you do perform, that's important. But they're not going to go back to Storm Point. We're switching over to Olympus. We've got Rampart banned. Dan, this is going to be interesting. I'll let you kind of lead away with that, and you guys get ready for game 2 because this is going to change maps and it's potentially going to change the leaderboard.
Yeah, unfortunately, no Rampart ban. Sorry, Render, you were kind of you were served a lie there because that's incorrect. Crypto is going to be banned. I think it was just a graphical error. Apologies, everyone.
I nearly had a heart attack then. I had a heart attack then. I was like, we do the whole split and it's Crypto ban, not game 1. I'm like, what?
That much. Good catch on that.
Okay, we're good.
We're good. All right, everyone. POI draft. Let's talk Aurora first. When we look at Olympus, you know, previously they were at Ceto Station on Storm Point, but now when we go over to Olympus, they have also found one of the best POIs you could possibly have down at Terminal. Not only is it the second highest points per game average since the removal of Tridents, but it also has the most wins across all regions since the removal of Tridents as well. Aurora's game plan has been very clear. Find POIs that are points heavy and also find wins here. So I do think that Aurora, now after that 27 mark, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if we see something similar here going into game 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great opportunity for them to get close to match point, right? 27, do it again. You're on match point. In 2 games, we could be done. It's as simple as that, but it is a fascinating way to start the day for one of the powerhouse teams in EMEA. And let's just take a second here to kind of just really highlight how good a split it's been, because I think a lot of people were still looking at Alliance at the start of this split and being like, they're the team to beat. They've made the change. They obviously felt like something to improve on. They picked, you know, let Effect go. But Aurora, we were always, the question was, who's going to match Alliance? Who's going to go to LAN with Alliance? Who's going to be the teams to step up and show international competition that EMEA has challenges? And I think now you're looking and you're saying at the end of this split, of course, we've still got LAN to go, which is the most important and deciding factor. You got to say that Aurora are looking very, very close at the moment.
Now, I mentioned August and Hungary previously in the first one about Storm Point. Now they're over towards Olympus. We did actually catch up with Taxington beforehand, and he's going to chat to us about EWC and how they qualified previously.
For me, EWC has been that one tournament that I qualified for the first ever one, but didn't get to play because my team kicked me with Main Heaven. I didn't get to play, but I qualified for it, and it's always been that one tournament where I feel like it's one I've always wanted to play at. It is definitely, like, sometimes it does feel like the world is against me. In Apex specifically, it has always felt like when I get to LAN, I always put on a good showing, but outside of that, the opinion of me as a player has always been pretty low, sadly. And part of that is for me, part of that is out of my control, part of that is. So it's always been, I've always had the motivation to just prove people wrong and show I deserve to be where I am and I deserve to be at LANs consistently.
Well, what I take away from that, Dan, obviously you're very disappointed to qualify and then get dumped by your team, but he needs a PR team. The sounds of things. He needs a PR team.
They might need a dream as well at this point. They might need a miracle because they're going up against Aurora in the early stages, but a lot of utility being used. Maggie-Ball already ripped as well. Try and find a little bit of extra oomph going into this engagement and forces Aurora away.
Yeah, Aurora, I can't say what I would say. Goodbye, basically, essentially, because they got hit by everything and still managed to survive. So you have to give them some credit, even though they think they lost one player. And they still get out. Effect has just gone down, though, to Mucci and Sheila. I mean, Aurora are in hell right now. Game 1's great. This is how quickly things can change, though. Hyaka's got a clutch. He's got a chance here. He's got a Newcastle flying at him, and he can't make it happen. Aurora from Cloud9 down to the depths of hell. It is not good game 2 for them. It's a 27 followed by a 0.
All right, everyone, that's my fault. Sorry, but also you're welcome, because that means it's going to go a little bit longer today. August and Hungary taking them down, though, which, you know, I think is very important for August and Hungary. After that first game, you know, they would have been disappointed with only the 2 points. They did have a very central POI. Similarly here, though, on Olympus at Hammond Labs, it's another central rotation and a good chance for them to get points.
Oh, nice shot coming in from Taskmaster with that longbow, just catching the body. And destroy that gen, which makes hiding behind this little bit of cover a little bit worrying, especially the fact that Pristis has probably got a riot drill ready for him in a few seconds' time. Just before we get there, we'll throw a thermite towards you, see if we can get a nice sear on the outside of this body, and that is going to be for fun esports eliminated. And it looks like VP at the moment, Dan, are heavily favoring a sniper meta. Longbow, Kraber, Sentinel, whatever it is, they ain't missing.
By the way, that's first and second from last game already eliminated here in the second game. Again, just shows how quickly things can turn around here in ALGS and Matchpoint in particular. So this is going to be a great opportunity for teams to start catch up a little bit now. Now, you may have noticed quite a few Valkyries in the composition. That is how EMEA has been going in terms of scrims. Valkyrie typically is the second ban. We've got 15 of them in the lobby as 3 men just got eliminated in 18th.
Alliance chasing down the Vicious on outside of zone here, and I'm pretty sure there's another team surrounding them as well. Nice shots coming in from the wingman of Unlucky. Alta, Axel, and Valkyrie. A very aggressive composition coming in here from Alliance, and that's why they want to try and push this to collect these KP. Hoodie's going to be taken down. That's another member of the Vicious, and it was actually HM who were in the middle of that, and Feuda has managed to, while all of the commotion is occurring in and around him, just kind of just skedaddled his way downtown towards Grow Towers and said, don't worry, Alliance, I'm going to be no worry for you. I'm going to Grow Towers, I'm going to craft, I'm going to get my team back in the game for a little bit later.
Well, that's our first look of where the zone's going to be going, and that's why we saw such a big early fight happening between August and Hungary and Aurora down towards the southern side of the map, as well as everyone's starting to move as quickly as they can towards where they think this is going to be finishing. Making you great again, August and Hungary, Infinite, Blessed are all going to be in prime positions here if the zone does keep transitioning towards that southwest side. The zone is just touching, so maybe it does continue to go that way, but there is always a chance it could pull a little bit further north.
I'm interested to see where this zone goes. I think Ring 3 info is going to be really important for teams here, because this is one of those which is, it feels like a little bit of a guess when it comes to where the zone is going to be going. We do see them pull into hydroponics, but we also see them pull back towards where VP are at the moment and sort of outside of Dockyard. So GG are making the zone call right now, and they are heading into hydroponics, probably because there's just more playable buildings and space for them. And as they land on this building, it's going to be vacant. Let's jump into a listen and see what the next step is for GG.
Drop this up, drop this up, drop this up.
I dropped this up, I dropped this up. Oh, sorry, guys. Just wait here, we're good.
Just chill, we're completely fine, all good.
I mean, that's a wall on each side would be so good. Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
Make it draw, it's awful. I have 2 cells. Do you guys have a lot of cells?
I'm getting a fight going on. I'm looking at it real quick.
You guys have a lot of cells?
I don't have much.
Yeah, they're not on. I'm gonna extend. Stay here, stay here.
Yeah. I'm trying to move to him.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's just impossible, man. Pop in a Phoenix. I mean, Sucker, do you have to attack for me so I don't die? Thank you.
Well, GG are struggling against the Maggies in the lobby at the moment, and that is why it can be difficult to place some of these smaller buildings, these smaller constructs in the back of hydroponics. It's just so easy for the right drill to do just immeasurable damage, as it is for a thermite to do damage, as BQ is up on the high ground here as the last remaining member of Zipline Mafia. Does have the Valkyrie, so you can just take to the skies if you need to.
It is.
Maybe not anymore.
Hold up. If you're getting peppered in the backside, you have to be very careful about when. Oh, there is a full-on chase happening. Good luck. I salute to you, 07, sir, as you're probably going to be eliminated from the lobby very shortly. But you don't want to overextend too much here if you're Colonel Node. You've got to be careful and maybe think about your rotation as well. But thankfully, they were at least transitioning towards the zone.
17 squads remain. A lot of these teams who are in late here are going to have a little bit of a difficult time. Oh, by the way, WeQ, shout out to you. There's the Valkyrie. It's only blue. Baby Valkyrie. Takes time to get up into the skies, but once you're there, it really is a tremendous scenic view, Dan.
beautiful as we take to the skies and we look across Olympus here and see it has now Alliance crossed by the famous team of Alliance. Speaking of Alliance, I mean, with the comp that they currently are running, by the way, they are looking for engagements that you were talking about. If you suddenly see Alliance flying at you, you're going to have very little time to react here.
Oh, they've also just found out there's a team just portaling underneath them, returning, and they're going to get swung on. They have to be careful they don't get hit by the fences, but unlucky at the moment. It's looking so deadly with that wingman in his hand. Colonel Node get turned into pancakes, Dan. That was brutal.
It was, and again, what I was talking about, when they were chasing that kill, they kind of exposed themselves a little bit. They left what was somewhat safe, and they weren't necessarily thinking about their rotation, and it allowed Alliance to get ahead of them. As we check in now with the other side of the map, Team Heretics, who were unable to get any points on Storm Point, but they now do find themselves on the far side of the west here. But it is not going to be within the next zone, but they don't know that yet, so they're currently just locking this one down.
Curse trying to hold and toss off a medkit to his friends. And it is going to be Elite who are on the other side of this building. So angry neighbors at the moment. The type that you look on your, what's it called? Security camera, the ring camera. I don't have
That's
one. You have one. Okay.
Other brands are available.
But you look at that and there's movement at 2 a.m. and someone's stealing your garden pots. You know what I mean?
I mean, you've never happened to me, actually. Yeah, someone stole something from a front porch last year. It was terrifying. Anyway, Heretics, hopefully nothing's going to be stolen from their front porch as they are able to take one, but they have lost one of their own here. Heretics need to make sure they work as a duo here.
Kind of takes damage. Light's going to be last alive here. Nice slide coming in from Jans. It's a 1v2. He's not going to be able to win it, but that fight has just given the trigger for other teams to arrive, and it's going to be Eclipse Need Pro who are now moving in. They're trying to get outside of this building, but they're being hit with the kitchen sink and everything in the cabinets. Team Heretics are eliminated, and the building will now belong to Eclipse and Neve Pro. But it won't be safe, Dan. They're clearing their backs. They'll have to move in from here. The zone's pulled back!
Yeah, I was about to say, when we get a look at the zone, because it wasn't quite touching on that southwest side, I was a little bit worried it wasn't going to pull all that way. And it has moved up towards the likes of HM. You can see there in the top left-hand of your screen. Thank you so much, production. ALGS and Hungary are also going to be in a good position for that one. But all those teams who committed to the far southwest side of this map now, they will eventually learn they're going to have to all move north together.
Well, Alliance have got the first knock here again. AJ's going to be down. The spray is so good from Aku. The follow-up is impressive as well. The breach charge somehow on 10 HP. Alliance keep Aku alive. And when you do that, the man just spits damage. Stay healthy, are eliminated.
Is what he said. He was able to take down them very easily indeed. And Alliance continue to look extremely impressive. Even though they didn't get to the true end game of game one, the way they were able to find their way towards like the second to last zone, I think we're in for a good day when we look at the teams and how they are fighting at the moment.
Well, HM just trying to remain anonymous at the moment. They have found themselves a little spot in zone. They are right in the center of it. The Horde and the other team who are in zone at the moment, and we saw Eclipse. They're going to be on the outside of it. They'll have to walk their way in, but their back is clear. So those three teams are in really good positions alongside ALGS and Hungary. See out this end game. Another team who's arriving, who've reset, by the way, we saw them a little bit earlier, is going to be the Vicious, but Chaotic, he's going to have to hope that his teammates can do it once more. But in this end game, pretty unlikely they'll be able to get back up to 3.
Yeah, they would have a good spot if they were up to 3 here, because they'd be able to be aggressive onto Horde in the building, or maybe wait for Virtus Pro to engage and then potentially third party. And they could still do that as a duo. So don't get me wrong, it's not like it's all doom and gloom for Vicious. But it is going to get interesting on this northeast side with Horde, Virtus Pro, and now Alliance starting to make their way here, and the duo of Vicious. You have to time this correctly. If you overextend and you get too kind of eager for these kills, you can definitely be punished.
One thing that Alliance aren't lacking right now by the looks of things is confidence, Dan. They are very, very eager to fight. This competition obviously leans into that for them. The fact that they've got two such aggressive characters that can make the difference in those individual moments. Plus, they've got the over armor as well on Hackis. So the M&K players got a little bit of extra security when it comes to those team fights, which is always a nice thing to have.
Very nice thing to have. Oh, man, Maggie Ball's not a nice thing to be going up against, though, but can you actually capitalize on that damage? Oh, Aku and Unlucky just deleting together.
I mean, Aku's flying in. He has to be careful here that he doesn't throw the fight. He gets that first knock, pushes up onto the damage, and now Hackis is going to be alongside him and Unlucky following up. But what do I know? Aku is taking over at the moment. He's still alive inside of this building. Prestis is behind that knockdown shield, and Aku is just waiting, biding his time for the help. But it's turned into a 1v1, and Hackis is nowhere to be seen. Can he get back into a situation where he either resets here for Alliance? But it doesn't look like that's going to be the case because VP are going to be the team to reset.
I mean, it often happens where Hackers just sends the 2 in and he's there as a fallback plan. But had they been a full 3, they'd probably win that engagement. But I guess you usually trust the duo to get the job done as a 2 after they got the initial knock. Now, Citadel Gaming on this eastern side, they're being pressured by Blessed here. And they are being surrounded too. But, great spray from Zuni. That's the record breaker from back way when.
Oh, I mean, he's following up on the damage as well. I think they're trying to just play for these KP as the zone is closing in behind them. It does climb up. It's going to be a 1v1 Remix Powers. Where are you? He's got to finish this one off, but he's getting shot in the back, and Citadel. Oh dear, that is kind of synonymous of their split so far.
Yeah, for a day where they need to be, pretty much perfect, they need to find a win. 2 games now with not much points to be screaming and shouting about. You're already starting to scratch your head saying, like, are we going to be able to catch the lobby leaders? That being said, it is still relatively early, and hopefully they can find their way. Now, Alliance, we spoke about Hackers. He has been able to get away, but now he's going to be focused. And even though as a Valkyrie, sadly, VP do find that final piece of the puzzle they were looking for, and Alliance get eliminated.
Yeah, it's that horrible moment when you hear of alcohol. You look up, and then you see the missile swarm heading your way, and you're like, well, I'm fodder. It's as simple as that. You die, and you accept it for what it is. Back over at the hydroponic side, though, you're going to see 2 members of GG who are already down, getting launched into the skies. GG, goodbye. That's going to be Make EU Great Again, who just take them apart.
Yeah, the expression is kick them while they're down, but instead it's shoot them while they're up. When it comes to
kickstart them while they're down.
Exactly, and certainly GG, they're in a good spot, but they can't quite convert. But Virtus Pro now with a really good opportunity to take the #1 spot and overtake Aurora here, as they are still alive. Considering the fact that Forfun and Aurora dropped early, VP, the only team that performed well, really, in that first game, that is still here, still alive, still kicking.
27 points on the board already. They'll be joint first, at least, after this game. Aurora with that 27-point banger in game #1, of course. And Taskmaster, once again, with his longbow, is just harassing everybody who goes into his line of sight. Gotta be careful though. The Horde is having a little poke at them themselves. The Horde and VP both won't be safe in this next zone, nor will HM, the team that initially VP were firing down onto. So somebody has to blink here. The Valkyries are going to be influential towards this end game. By the way, Preston's 2.2k damage in this game already. 4 assists and 3 kills. He's doing it again, Dan.
Mad Maggie, that's what happens, and certainly if there's any Watsons in the lobby as well, it helps with the regeneration that's going to happen on the other side. Now, only one of these teams is currently in the zone. Horde and Virtus Pro are going to fight to force their way in as well, as we look on over to Make EU Great Again. They're being held up by HM.
HM take to the skies, though. They're going to hit the Valkyrie immediately, so Make EU Great Again are going to have to step their way in. VP looking for another fight here. It's going to be the Horde who they take on. This one's kind of been brewing in the background of this game. Prestis with yet more damage, but they have lost Taskmaster here, but they might be able to buy enough time here just to get healthy, as the 2 teams are going to engage. It's HM and the Horde, and VP might be able to wait and see what happens as a Maggie Ball comes in from distance.
Well, that just disrupts everything, doesn't it? It's Virtus Pro now going to try and convert as a duo here. Prestis still has so much armor to work with, though, and there is certainly going to be watching on from Eclipse and Make EU Great Again, who are kind of joining in on this engagement, as Horde will eventually be taken down.
Oh, you thought it was bad enough? Well, here's Sheila from Ozus. HM eliminated, the Horde went as well, and VP will win that battle on the northeast side of the zone.
Now, this is where you've got to look towards your Gibby player, right? If you can build up that bubble over and over again, you're going to put yourself in such a good position for the end game. But that being said, excuse me, all the Gibbies just got eliminated. Gibbies are down. We are now looking at compositions. There's a Newcastle on the side of Eclipse. You've got the Mad Maggies on Eclipse and VP as well. You've got the Seer on Make EU Great Again. But that's 3 Newcastle still in the lobby. Only the Catalyst, really, that can be a huge difference maker in terms of splitting up this zone. So Make EU Great Again actually in a really good position to try and force this circle in the way they would like to.
Well, we've already seen one of the best Kraber shots that we've seen in the split so far in game number 1. What can Zidane do with 3 bullets in the big gun himself? He's going to have to find some sort of damage as we have our final 4 teams alive here. Infinite are going to have to move. It's a little bit of a scary spot for them to be in. The north side, Eclipse Need Pro, they're going to be safe for a little bit longer, and here is that move, but it's going to have to be rampart wall after rampart wall, and you can see they're just being pressured here consistently by 2 teams in the lobby. Zidane's going to step forward and might be able to hit a big shot here as VP just kind of overlooking a lot of what's going down.
Oh, Infinite might just jump onto Eclipse here, and actually that is going to change everything for Make EU great again. Because they can just wall off this map, which they do, and they will take pure control here. They can join in on this fight and dominate this west side.
Yeah, that wall is perfect. That is going to give them all of the control of the space. Nate is going to have to back out, but there is VP. But there is an L-Star, and there is Nate too from Nate. Out of nowhere, Nitro Gate, L-Star. All sorts of problems being caused, and Eclipse Need Pro are now going to move in, and they will take game number 2. But boy, are we seeing some clips and some highlights here at EMEA to start things off. That is a phenomenal game number 2.
I am so surprised that after the cat wall, they engaged in that third party as aggressively as they did. I mean, you've got to give credit to Eclipse for holding off that initial fight and staying at a full 3. I think maybe Make EU Great Again thought that there was going to be a far weaker team. They were going to wall off, finish off the fight after the third party, and then take a 3v3 in a healthy manner. Didn't go that way, though, and that sometimes is just how the cookie crumbles, but Eclipse are going to be kind of rubbing their hands together, saying, oh, okay, so Virtus Pro were able to help us in that final moment as well.
I think one thing that VP probably didn't bank on as they were just sat there waiting was that they would be swung randomly by someone retreating from the fight with an L-Star in their hands who wasn't going to miss a single solitary bullet. That really did hurt VP, but not enough to take away the most points in the lobby. Even though it's Eclipse who have that win with 18 points total, it's VP who come out with the most with 22 just in behind them.
And remember, Eclipse are one of those teams that really need the day of all days if they are going to find themselves in Paris at EWC. As it stands, they would be in 12th position, but they would still be quite a ways off that top 8 at the moment. So it's kind of win or don't qualify. It feels like that kind of situation for Eclipse. For Virtus Pro, 13 points on the board will put them up in first place, and they're certainly going to look in good stead going into match 3.
Yeah, Lights down in 10th, but 9KP means they come out of that game with 11 points. And keep in mind, you know, we talk about 10 points being a good game in Apex Legends. Pretty good game for Alliance, and it sees them up into 3rd position overall at the moment. 50, remember, the magic number for these teams to hit to activate match point where they can close the tournament out. VP, 37 points on the board already, Dan. Aurora with just 1 point in that previous game after 27 in game number 1.
Yeah, that'll be disappointing for Aurora, especially considering where the zone went. They had a really good opportunity, but in the end, it was Mad Maggie who just forced them out of their comfort zone, and then the engagement thereafter. They just lost the utility battle. Sometimes that happens after the looting phase, sadly, but Virtus Pro, they stand tall.
Yeah, very, very impressive stuff from them. And Dan, I mean, you look at Make EMEA great again. I think they've had a pretty solid start. And if you want to watch them, of course, you can head over to algs.ea.com. You can watch more of you can watch whatever team you want to watch from their POV. You've got comms, you've got everything you could possibly want. Map overhead to have the best Apex Legends Global Series experience you possibly want. And I will say, it's always great to go back and watch some games as well, Dan. I love this tool. Plus, you can draw Nessies. Only Nessies, though, okay? You've been warned.
Intrusive thoughts, but it's very true. I mean, being able to go look at the VODs is not only important for us as commentators, as viewers, but also for the players to go back and study other teams as well. I think it is a fantastic source and resource, but certainly these teams are going to have to try and move forward into match 3 here with a different kind of style. There's some teams that have been struggling a little bit here, Mark.
We'll have to see how match 3 is going to go, and it's going to happen after this break. The first 2 games certainly were not disappointing. EMEA has started out hot here in regional finals. We'll see you for game 3 in just a few moments.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Welcome back, everybody, to the ALGS Year 6 Split 1 Regional Finals here in EMEA. I'm Vicky Kitty. I'm joined with the one and only Genome. It's been great action for the last 2 games, Genome. It's crazy because now it's all these teams farming to get those 50 points so that way they could be on the match point threshold before they eventually have to take a win. And talk about a way to set up a cushion for yourself right now if you're Aurora and you're Oi Rain, who popped off in that first game. We won't talk about that second game, you know, what happens, but with Eclipse also taking that dub, it highlights the level of competition here within EMEA, Genome.
I mean, please, like, with that, it was like a cinematic moment watching Oi Rain get that 1v2, get the reset, and like, you think of those sliding doors moments, man, of like him coming back and then winning the whole entire game with whatever, like 15 KP or whatever it was, something insane. Oh my God, we have had some highlight moments already, and I am waiting for some more here as we move on to E District. Of course, we can see the teams, a lot of them actually prioing E District here, as we can see on the draft. And part of that is because we have this double up here, Vicky, right? We're going to play it in Game 3 and Game 4, and it gives you that big boost to try and get over that match point threshold and then give yourself the chance to win in maybe a Game 5 or a Game 6.
Let's see if they get to take advantage of this, because I love how you bring that up, right? I was actually, when I was studying, you know, how scrims have been going overall and the teams that wanted to prioritize E District, it goes hand in hand with not only Game 3 and 4 being a lot of those big point soakers, but then you kind of dwell back on how some of these teams also feel on Storm Point. And, you know, one thing that I have to know, the fact that nobody else has wanted to contest Alliance over by NorthPad as they get that for free on like a 40 to something pick, it's just crazy to me. That's just straight aura here, as we're going to be able to see HM now moving forward. I believe we were able to talk to Fuda a little bit here, getting started, and what this means here for Fuda and HM.
As a team, we're confident getting to match point. Like, we're not worried at all of getting to match point. So the one worry we might have is actually closing it out on match point. We haven't been the best at closing games. So, I mean, I think the entire pro split, we've only won a single game, and that was last week. Yeah, still going to be the same attitude. Probably still playing like Maggie comps to start like killing people around us.
I love it. Being able to talk about like how confident they are into getting to match point and the different compositions that you may expect here as we do get situated on E District. Remember, Genome, we've already seen too much of Crypto and Valkyrie. They're back in Legend Band jail, and we get to take a look at where this zone's pulling to, because Eclipse, coming off that dub, they want to get the back-to-back, already making their rotation out of City Hall here and making You Great Again's already trying to engage, while VP take a roundabout rotation here where a lot of these teams are going to collapse coming out of that southern side north of Draft Point.
Yeah, you can see a couple of them already moving through Energy Bank. A lot of people, of course, yeah, ending up somewhere at the south of City Hall near Eclipse. Now, we've got 19 alters. Vicky, this is to be expected. If we looked at the bans and how they were going in scrims, the first 3 brands were always the same. And we've seen that Crypto, then Valkyrie, and now Alter in Game 3. After this, it's going to start getting a little spicy. Mega, we'll notice they were the only team, and here we are right into them, who are not picking that Alter. They've gone for Maggie, Wraith, Caustic, a very interesting composition with a lot of very aggressive options. And frankly, you know, we've been talking about how like the death of Edge
right, as a play style recently. But my lord, it felt like all of the teams who were the most aggressive were using that aggression to get a lot of the points that we saw come out of those first 2 games. Aurora, Alliance, you know, for fun, they were really just fragging out and using those aggressive characters like Crypto to enable it.
It's crazy, too, when you have the insurance policy of the Alter TP to reset, while Eclipse, you know, we saw them going in for an early rotate, are going to be able to get the res. Evo Harvester in the pocket of 3 men, but it's going to be nonstop fighting. You talk about the Alter plays here and what that also means looking into game number 4, because it's been quite a mix-up, right? We have the Watson, the Axel, the Wraith here to help try to close in the gap, while Gaming Gladiators, UTP, right through the wall into a Watson fence. Quite unfortunate, and that's going to be the end of Gaming Gladiators as they are your first team to go with our Red Bull first strike.
Down and most definitely out already, unfortunately. ALGS and Hungary, they start off in Energy Bank, of course, as the other lads have already talked about. These central POIs have gone up in priority quite a lot with the recent changes we've had, you know, particularly on the maps with Tridents, but even here on E-District, it does feel like we have been seeing perhaps a little bit of a shift towards the center of the map when teams are looking at these picks. Going further to the west here, we've got teams like, I mean, Eclipse have actually moved all the way out, back up to Resort. Bit of a negative rotate for them there. And quite a few on the outskirts still taking their time, realizing they're not going to have priority, so they prefer just to get the purples before moving in.
That's good for Eclipse, at least after they got that reset. Since they are coming for Resort, as you mentioned, they could at least get the information from Boardwalk since they had rotated earlier from City Hall before they had to get that res. So they could get that ring console. There's no team contesting them on that northwestern side of the zone. So a lot of these teams already finding that free real estate, just trying to get some poke pressure in to boost up those Evo shields. And if you're really, it's a little scary because you ended up going in for an early rotate. You're still on white Evo shields, while a lot of these other teams are taking advantage of the Evo Harvesters on the rotate.
HM, one of the surprise packets of this split, you might say. Not everyone had them on their list to be making it all the way towards LAN, and certainly they haven't been able to secure that just yet. They will need a good placement today to make sure of that. With only 7 points in the bank so far, they have to hope that they can get some back-to-back decent placements here on E-District to boost themselves further up. We have been seeing these match point series go quite a distance in both EMEA and NA so far. Even if we look across the other regions, APAC South and APAC North, you know, we just had APAC North finish with 10 games, right? It is feeling relatively even in these top 20 lobbies. It feels like there's a lot of good teams and it's hard to close the series out.
And I think that goes hand in hand with the flexibility of like the legend bands that you could expect, the rotations of having 3 of our maps being here on regional finals, going back and forth, kind of like a snake before you see the double E-District into the Olympus play, into the double Storm Point as well. A Zipline Mafia eating about, trying to see if they could catch a team coming right here alongside them, seeing if they could get the jump here too. Skis is going to be able to just wait alongside, as Babylons and Takio is also going to be able to wait on the other side before they jump. Oh, they got him! They got him!
Not a chance. Not a chance.
That's unfortunate. And that's hasta la vista in a quick 3-2-1 fashion, getting the jump on Takio as well. So ZZZ now having to see if they could get the reset here before Aurora. They heard the fighting and they want an invite to the action. WeQ is going to be able to get right back over to the other side, needs to get some help. And there's the insurance policy with the Ultra Portal actually managing to get away while being one-shot. And Aurora, they understand the situation. They would just rather look behind them, make sure they can try to gatekeep if they have to, and to try to prioritize the rotation into zone.
I mean, the crazy part for 3-men is it looks like they were literally on the Void Nexus. As soon as the Maggie got knocked, they were trying to pull them back in the recall, but they were just so quick with the knock and then the finish. Aurora obviously had a little bit of time in the lobby to think about their mistakes last game, so they're going to be a little happier. They start off with a KP or two there. Still in second spot overall. Nothing to worry about for them right now. But the thing I liked about that first game, Vicky, was that it was like vintage Oi Raid, right? And it was like, you know, this guy who has been maybe a little bit worried that he's going to be in Effect's shadow. Now that Effect is the big name coming into the team and all the talk was about him. And it feels like Oi Raid's, maybe that's lit a fire under him to say, no, I can be the star player here too if I really bring out that full potential.
I love it. Being able to see a lot of our fraggers now stepping up to the plate, especially when it matters. 3 men, by the way, they just can't catch a break because now they're facing off against Team Heretics over on the high ground here, or rather the north side here of E-District, or HM taking their time over by Galleria. Also having some information with those Sparrow arrows here before now trying to rotate through Energy Bank. But a lot more of these teams are starting to collapse on one another while other squads are taking their time, like VP, who are controlling the entirety of Neon Square, where there is a ring console that other teams may want to get that information. And another squad's kind of forced to congregate over onto that north side, exiting out of City Hall.
Is Alliance looking for a little bit damage on Dukashira. Well, there are so many void passages here. Bullets just seem to be disappearing into the void.
I try to follow them. It's almost like taking a scene out of the Matrix right now before having to navigate right back over to the portal if you want to get a free reset. Before lights now, trying to make sure that they do not get susceptible to getting third party. I do like their positioning because they're making sure their backs are cleared on the edge of this side of the zone where there was also that ring console that we did see Eclipse get the scan on originally over by Boardwalk. Before they're going to be able to try to contest on this, it's going to be Eclipse still over onto the other side after they did get that res. And Alliance holding that northern side to make sure that Elite EU nor Mega can walk up behind them.
Yeah, smart macro play for them, playing the potential gatekeep there. Zipline Mafia, the zone is chasing them in right now, and it's going to be HM chasing right behind it. Of course, they are going to be taking the zone damage. It'll be a little bit harder for them if they do end up running through, what is this? The big fan, the wind tunnel?
The hurricane fan, I guess. I mean, like, I call it the don't pull up zone because it leads
hurricane fan. That is such a Florida answer, Mickey.
It goes hand in hand when I'm with my favorite Aussie. You know how it goes. We got our own fair share of Jurassic Park creatures there, but you know what?
Right.
We already saw that Jurassic Park end zone in that first game, and right now it's looking like it's going to be a showcase with the way that HM is going to have to force their way out of the zone because Bless are trying to gatekeep them. But one thing that's important, Gino, there is a ring console on the outskirts of Draft Point. So while Bless and HM are taking their time in the zone here, it's going to be even more difficult for HM to make this rotate because not only are they going to get denied that information, they're going to have to take a roundabout rotate out on the outskirts of Street Market to avoid getting gate-kept by Bless. So a lot of these teams just waiting to pounce on a team who is desperately trying to get out of the zone because there's still 19 teams left. When we see the Craver in play in the feed, HM's going to be able to pick up some of that KP. Other teams, like Fishes, who have nobody around them. It's really only Kernonode who have looked at them from the outskirts of Blossom Drive like we saw in that earlier fight, but no teams are coming out of Neon Square towards them, while HM, once again, having that struggle and dealing with this rotate against Blessed.
I mean, this has just been going on for such a silly amount of time now that, yeah, you turn up and see the other team at the wrong point in time. It's like, oh, I don't even have a time to pop my syringe now. I'm just going to get knocked immediately, right? Like, it's a bit of a weird way to fight this fight in the zone. And Zipline Mafia, who were the sort of the smarter ones, made their rotation a little bit quicker. Maybe it was just the POI, who knows. Either way, they're on the right side of things, and they are waiting for this. They can hear the shots in the zone, and surely this is just going to be an easy couple of KP for them.
I mean, that was like Bless who rotated from Uptown, right? Just as Uptown girls making their way through Draft Point. But except they were able to just find some easy KP here. And that's what happens when you're on match point. This is what I love about regional finals. Do you know Kashea is going to be able to send out that wrecking ball, gets the baby, gets the stun, is one shot though, having to be careful as Zuni does need to get res. The reset too, as Remix not popping the medkit, just going to be able to help suppress him. They do not want to allow them to get this free reset too, as they're going to be able to continuously put on this pressure.
I mean, you can just see, you have to be like on a hair trigger with all these void passages around. He pops the shield back, but you can see him just keeping his eyes directly on that because he knows he might have to cancel it at a moment's notice if the team decides to push back out at them.
It's so hard here, and now they're gonna get pressured out in the corner of this zone, clinging up for dear life. We went from 19 squads, by the way, to 15 within the last like 15 seconds before coming in from the other side of the wall just for repositioning, playing on top of the parking garage. It's gonna be a quick little 3v3, but Zuni still hasn't been able to fully reset here. Zip playing off the fence line. Aurora also gonna be able to pick up some KP in the feed before diving down. They dropped them from high ground. You get the trade-off though. Zuni and Remix still struggling here, taking their time before diving down. They do not want to allow this reset, especially against a Watson team, to prevent any sort of entry from these Ultra TPs, but great time. The effort to go around it, to find Zipline Mafia, keep up this pressure, and get the reset off the portal play. Beautiful play here, too, when we take a look at where these teams are going on to, as well as the zone pool.
Yeah, look, we've had so many teams that were actually in this southern part here, and as the zone pulled up towards the north, we've had to see them all think about going through. There's only a couple of chokes that they can go through here,
Okay,
right? It's a little rough for these guys, but we're going to see Orgless and Hungry moving up. You can see they're even split holding that choke right now, going for both of these. So potential for Citadel Gaming and Virtus Pro to push through. You know, I'm trying to work out, are these walls thick enough for Alter? I can't remember now that we've zoomed in this far, because that's going to make a big difference to how easy it is to push into this next zone.
Yeah, there's certain walls here on E District where you can get cheeky with it on some of these rotations, and it comes in clutch too when obviously Valkyrie's banned. Alliance, by the way, do get eliminated. Love being able to see these examples on the Telestrator, by the way. Shout out to Dia and of course Genome here for being able to bring that to the table here in ALGS. But a lot of these teams with Alter being out and playing so many Alters in general, it's a lot of reset potential, and a lot of these teams also trying to force their way into taking these buildings, as Chrono Node are the next team to get eliminated.
Yep, so they lose that fight to the Vicious, and now the Vicious are actually going to go all the way back around. We're going to have a listen in with Orgless and Hungry as they try and gatekeep these teams.
We're getting shot by two teams. Yeah, they can't climb yet, I think. Below?
We have space now, okay? Yes. You play close, just play close. And get ready to...
Yeah, they're going to fight each other now.
Yeah, I'm thinking hard. Two guys.
Okay. I got scanned. One pick here. Can we peek? Queue up. I cracked him, guys.
I killed one.
Nice. No, nice.
I'm playing slow. Slow.
Yeah, I'm playing slow. Whoa, can we go down? Can we push?
Yeah, can we queue down? I'm
okay, queuing. This one.
One mouse.
Yeah, let's go. Kill him. I died in the back. I got craven in the back.
Yeah, I'm dropping far.
Okay, guys.
Very good.
We're getting full heal and then queue up. Okay? Yep. We're going to have a lot of space we can control in a sec.
Team right side maybe looking at us from the ramp here.
Quick fight, and I love the communication that we hear from Orgless and Hungry right there, where they needed to capitalize off of getting that crack. They had the health advantage, and they move up, and they do not get 3P'd, because I was worried a little bit about Vicious, but based off their composition, they're sitting pretty, and they're looking at 4 Fun specifically. But this also means, Genome, after you highlighted this choke that Orgless was holding, that they're going to go uncontested on the southern zone, really making you gray again, just holding on for dear life, stacked up one on top of each other on that bottom right side of the map. No, none of these teams minus Horde are in this next zone, and it's going to be chaos from the north side.
Yeah, that was a massive fight win for Orgless and Hungry. This is giving them pretty much the sweet spot in the zone, and everyone else that we're looking at here, Elite EU, make it EU great again. They're all trying to take some really rough rotations in here. Maybe if you get a Void Nexus in the right spot, you can pull your team in that way. Actually, it looks like make EU great again and going for it.
This is actually so smart because they actually set their Wraith player to already set up the portal in advance and make this rotate and to make this fight happen. They take the fight over to Orgless and Hungry because this would be a big deal if they can clear the southern side. But guess what? This is an invite for other teams to show face, and while Mega unfortunately go down, Orgless, they weren't expecting this. They're the next to fall because Vicious get a word of this fight, and Stay Healthy are also looking onto them, but the fight is done, and the victory goes over to Vicious, who get to clear the southern side.
Oh, a pox upon make EU great again. That is what Orgless and Hungry are going to be saying. They have had their god spot absolutely entered away from them, and it's just an easy third party for Vicious to stay healthy to get involved there. Meanwhile, everyone else who is fighting down here on the low ground is in such a rough spot. We do have to watch out for those altar queues up to the high ground.
Good call out here too. While Aurora is the next to fall. 6 squads left here, and this is the chaos that we were expecting in a zone like this. So many of these teams are trying to stay alive. Vicious too, after coming out of that 3P. Talked about the unfortunate int that we saw too from Mega after they paid for it. Elite EU henchman, the last one alive, preventing the rest from coming in. The Newcastle too, but you're dealing with the Watson from the other side, playing ring around the Rosie between these fence lines. But the Newcastle has that purple knockdown shield. It's taking so long to try to finish this off. But henchman is so healthy. He's so confident. He comes out on top, and nobody is even on the high ground to stop this reset from coming through.
Yeah, little GL on the Hemlock goes underrated sometimes when you've got to deal with knockdown shields in weird situations like that. It's just a good way to finish off fights and be able to make sure that you can clear out your knocks. Now we've got 3 squads left. Kraber with infinite ammo on the high ground here from AJ.
Actually crazy to say that. Imagine saying that like 3 years ago. Oh my goodness. Elite EU though have been having one heck of a game. Look at henchman after coming out in clutch in that 1v1. You talk about the Kraber in hand. By the way, AJ also has that double tap onto the alternator as well as that purple mag. Ready reloaded off of the Kraber, but stay healthy, are trying to control so much of the space too. Elite EU now forced to back away while Vicious are trying to get a full reset here and stay healthy, are looking to wrap around in our last 3 squads.
Vicious do get the respawn onto Hoodie. We saw that notification, little green beam in the sky, but they didn't really want to peek over because they're too worried about the Vicious taking advantage of them coming out of cover. Here we go. They push up a little bit more, though. And just as the zone squeezes them in, stay healthy, surely come out on top. Unless maybe Elite EU can find just the right moment to push up with the Void Nexus.
Okay, that was a little overzealous right there, taking the altar portal. But guess what? That allows Elite EU to now just walk up for free. They're taking advantage of the knocks that they see right before their eyes. They're fully up as a 3-man, and it's just a matter of time as Elite EU take one for the books for our first game on E District for a regional final.
Very canny play there from Elite EU. They actually, I don't know how often I've ever said this in Apex, but they used the low ground to their advantage there. It was kind of hard to stay healthy, to be able to peek over at them. And yeah, as you say, Alter, right? But it also kind of felt like Stay Healthy should have predicted that. They should have known. They should have, maybe not been committing quite as hard towards the other side, waiting for that Void passage. I don't know. It was a tough spot either way. A solid top 3 there, and Elite EU do manage to pick up 22 points at the end with that win.
You know how important that is when it comes to regional finals and trying to get the speed run to the 50 points first, as we take a look at not only the 10 KP that they put in their pockets, but the follow-up too from Vicious and Stay Healthy. We saw the Alter TP plays going up onto the high ground, but also that's why, Genome, we're seeing an influx of Watsons when you're expecting so many Alters, just the way you can prevent any of these teams from being able to fully 3-2-1 you through an Alter TP.
Indeed, and look, Watson's could be in the next game, Vicky. We'll have to wait and see what's the next one banned out. Of course, it is Alter here, and this is basically where things get fun, where they get interesting, where we're not exactly sure what's going to happen next as far as the bans go. But what we are sure about is Elite EU have made their way very much up the scoreboard now. I think they're pushing into, 4th spot overall, up 8 spots into 27. No one on match point yet. Virtus Pro only managed to scrape together a few points in that game, but they are still on top with 39.
I mean, it helps, right? When game number 2, VP did secure like 13 KP despite not taking the dub. And this is what, regional finals is all about. This is what match point format is all about, where a lot of these early games could get as chaotic as it seems, even as we swap off to these different maps before we do the back-to-back on Taking District. You want to be able to feel comfortable on that back-to-back map. And with VP still leading the charge right now, it's not too much of a lead, Genome. But now the competition is starting to heat up for some of these squads that need to get that momentum rolling.
Yeah, and we should also note that Elite EU are very much on the bubble, and a big result like that pushes them up further is going to go a long way to pushing them above teams like Horde, Gaming Gladiators, all that kind of stuff, and get into that top 9.
Yeah, and talking about bubble teams and seeing them actually perform, I want to hear more from Rain Day as we bring him back, because now that's 3 games in the books here. We are going to see that back-to-back E-District. And now, Rain Day, I want to hear more from you as we dive into this regional finals.
Thank you so much, Vicky and Gino. Welcome back, everybody. It's been some scintillating action to kick things off. Just an amazing game from Aurora in game 1, and I think that set the tone. The EU has been feeling themselves lately. I think EMEA has found a way to kind of get this meta under control after introducing Axel and some of the changes, and now it feels so setting up for an exciting finish with no team at the threshold. So no worries about us going a few more games at least until this really starts to rise in tension. But of course, as this halftime begins, I want to take a moment to bring back one of our casters of this split, one of the people you know and love here, Graceful, joining us. You know, Grace, I always shout out, what are you wearing? Because you always have the most style coming in to these events, man. And you know what? You actually just kept it cool. So I guess that's the new style nowadays, guys. You heard it from Grace first. Welcome back, brother.
Hey, man. Thank you so much for bringing me back. And hey, it's not work. At this point, I'm home. I'm just chilling with my wife, with my dog. I get to be casual. Okay, that's how it is.
Okay, I understand. He's like, when I step outside, then you'll see my true form. And I can believe it. So make sure you join us at LAN, guys. Tickets just went on for Vegas. So make sure to grab those. Grace, when we started out in this first season, we wanted to bring you back here because we made a big claim. You fought with Dia, not an actual fight. You can go back and watch, but it was pretty close. And it was about Hierarcha, it was about hotkeys, it was essentially about Effect and Aurora and Alliance, comparing the trade and the change from one of the most impactful players in the world, but also one of the best and most tested IGLs in the world, and the impact of what an IGL could have on this team. I want you to come back and help your take age gracefully as we explore whether it panned out for Alliance or Aurora. And maybe even before that, talk about why these two teams are so important to look at in terms of how they take fights. Because in terms of excellence, there's pretty much nobody better in EMEA.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely dive into how the two teams are absolutely amazing and what they do. But one thing I really want to break down here in these clips specifically that we're going to see is how they take fights, right? ALGS here actually says, I'm going to play high ground on the left, as you can see up there on that catwalk, as 2 of his teammates are going to unlock your swinging right. This way is that you can split the attention that the enemy team is essentially putting on you, so that if they're focusing the duo on the right, ALGS gets a free flank, and if they're focusing ALGS, well, they get to take essentially a 2v2 or a 2v, depending on how many is left on that side, and they clean that up very smoothly. We can see this once again come out from Aqua here. Very good on the character altar, where he just phases through and forces the attention to go either onto him, allowing his teammates to walk up, or they're focusing his teammates and allowing him to make plays on their own. This is something that Alliance does really, really well, but Aurora as well, we're going to see that later on. But this just keeps coming up on repeat over and over, especially with the likes of the teams that fight really strongly at the higher end.
And Grace, I mean, that's the IGL making these calls, right? As someone watching in, that's somebody who's holding down the strategy for their team. If I'm a new viewer, I'm thinking that's the most important. But what we've seen again and again is Effect sometimes breaks that mold and actually is so good as an individual that it kind of supersedes what an IGL will call for.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, and that's people that have been looking a long time at old Alliance roster might said that have been the issue as well, because he has so much passion and so much wants to make too many plays at some point. You even hear in some of the calls that Hierarcha says, Effect, calm down, don't go too crazy, because that's just his nature. He's a playmaker. He wants to make huge plays, and he does it like with really good success as well, right? And in this clip, I'm actually going to show you here, he has the patience and the mental awareness as well to make these plays, because there's going to be a moment here where once again he's going to play up, and he's even going to communicate it as well. I'm walking up, and this is a really normal calm that people that play in their front line end up doing. Okay. But then he's going to calm down a little bit later on, and he's going to say, look over me. This is one of the things, if anybody at home watching this wants to get better at the game, it's so good to play off of your teammates' angles. Like I said, like we saw earlier here, somebody takes space on any side. You don't want to stay on the same angle. you want to take an off angle from your team so that they have to decide, am I going to look at you or am I going to look at your team? And whichever side is free, they get to punish the opposite side, essentially, right? So
do you find that this is a maturity that's grown from Effect? Do you think this is just always what he's done? Or, you know, was it kind of a wake-up call as well, going away from Alliance, that he's had to step up in terms of communicating, not necessarily against his team and doing his own thing, but working in tandem with his team here?
I think that it's definitely matured because, you know, I've talked him throughout the tournaments over and over. But just having that trust in your teammates as well. Right here, when Effect sits here, a normal average player would swing this into a 1v2, get absolutely beamed or down, and that would be it. Effect calls look at me, and Oirain here, or OJ, immediately beams the guy above him, allowing Effect to swing and clean up that damage, which is something that you have to trust in your teammate to do that. But the only way for it to even happen at all is for you to rely on your teammates. So I think maybe like, it's not that he didn't trust in his teammates on Alliance. They're both world-class players, unlike in HAKIS, but now maybe he has some more confidence in Oirain that he didn't have in his former teammates that he just found now on this team, which is a super good thing. And even here, you know,
did you just mention maturity? Did you mention maturity?
I mean, okay, the rivalry is still hot. We talked about this earlier on. You know, he said, I only want to place better than Alliance. He doesn't care about anything else. And obviously, you gotta send it with a few bags on there as well to make it good. One of the things that I want to say here, look at those stats there. He's still absolutely crazy in terms of playmaking. People wouldn't be mad if you called him either the best or absolutely one of the best fraggers in the entire world, and that stays true to today, no matter the roster swap. So he hasn't really been affected by the team swap because he's still outputting the crazy amount of numbers and results on both teams.
Well, I mean, it certainly has that same effect, even on a different team, as our stats so lovely, as our graphics so lovely coined here. And I want to talk a little bit about the other side, who replaced Effect, and those are big shoes to fill. But Aku, in my opinion, has done a really good job of holding down this role. It's kind of like trying to, you know, maybe he's the most impactful player in the world. It's really hard to compare effect stacks. But Grace, how do you feel Aku is fit in with HAKIS' style, allowing them in this match day only to be 6 points away from each other?
I think this is one of the biggest, how should I say it, points towards the fact that sometimes you don't, not having too many personalities on the team is a good thing. And I think Aku as a person, super kind, like Effect is also super kind of nice. He's very passionate and hot and wants to do stuff. Aku is more willing to adapt or merge with the team, have input for sure, but I think he's a better fit for HAKIS as an individual. And I think it goes to great show that they're on the same page, which I always like to say, you have to be on the same page, whether you're holding hands and swinging a door, triple swinging, or just be on the same timing, as in, I'm about to flank left, make sure you're ready to follow up. And I think it's working.
Well, to close this out, Grace, and kind of to wrap up what we started with the beginning of the season, to see how your take has aged gracefully, I want to know, do we feel that Aurora got the better end of this trade and that Effect was able to bring really what people cannot replicate, which is his ability as a player, to a team and make them better? Or has HAKIS found the right fit in Aku to eventually be consistent and do what he says on the battlefield enough so that they can win another championship?
So, I'm going to be a little bit boring and take the easy way out there, okay? That's just how it is. But let's be honest. HAKIS, in my opinion, is probably top 2 IGL in the world at this point and has been in contest for top 3 throughout his entire career, almost, I would say. He still shows that regardless if you swap out a big playmaker like Effect, he still got what it takes to win it and has been showing absolute dominance in the region. We'll have to see if that can get replicated onto LAN. That we'll have to see for that. But on the flip side of things, as much as I would like to say that Effect obviously still putting up absolutely insane results, I think people are looking enough up to Hjarka, who some people might have even said, was a fluke when he won champs. Hint, hint. You can't fluke your way through qualifying for LAN, through groups, into finals, land on match point, and then close out the tournament. You can't fluke 6. It's not a fluke if you made it 6 times through, right? He has shown absolute dominance. And I think if now than never, you have to absolutely give him these kudos for being able to take his team this far. And Effect probably just helps amplify that because now you're winning fights that you shouldn't be winning due to the massive effect he has. But the IGLing has been absolutely on top. And let's not even talk about OJ. Holy, I can't even leak what I wrote.
That's a whole
to
other
him.
segment.
After game 1, I DM'd him. I can't even say what I wrote to him in the messages because I would get banned. he was so good.
We don't want that. We don't want that, Grace. But again, we do want you, and we always love having you on the show, man. So great you featured here. Thank you for the updates on EMEA. I love the Alliance Aurora conversation. We're going to continue it. Only 3 games gone, 6 points between them. Aurora with a slight edge now, but you can never count out a guy like Hockey's. Vicky, Gino, match 4 on the way.
Thank you so much, Rain Day and Graceful. I mean, talk about a conversation that has actually ended up ironing out the way exactly how we expected it, right, Gino?
Man, that guy loves to talk about Apex, and well, so do we, to be honest.
You know how it is, especially when it comes to Graceful highlighting the amazing plays that Hockey's is as an IGL too. I mean, you talk about the way Unlucky's playing today alone with 10 KP in his pocket.